Hello, everyone. I'm Father Christopher Brashears. I'm pastor of the Panhandle out here in Oklahoma, and I'm very excited to share with you a new initiative that we have going on at our parish called Gnarus. Now, Gnarus, what is this kind of thing? Well, first of all, let's go back to kind of the word here. Gnarus. Gnarus is a word that comes to us through Greek into Latin, which means those who are kind of knowing or knowledgeable. It's the adjective of a knowing person, a person who knows things. And that's really kind of the point of this whole program is to get to know things, especially about the faith, but also sometimes more particularly about our local situation here in Oklahoma, especially in the Panhandle out here as being Panhandle Catholic. Now, kind of the whole format of this will be kind of first of all on YouTube, but I'm also looking to get it onto a podcast. I know how very popular those are, and I've got my own list of podcasts that I've been listening to, and it really helps, especially while we're on the roads and out here in the Panhandle. We're on the roads. So, I've taken a lot of inspiration from Catholic Answers Live, an excellent program, wonderfully done. I've listened to it over many years, and they have just thousands and thousands of episodes. It's really incredible to me how they have these callers call in, ask their questions, and then they have these answers just so readily and available to them. And especially in a very human context, not, some kind of thing you have to go and read a lot of, but a well kind of conversation. Now, I would like to do that here, but the limitations of doing kind of live call in are a little bit challenging. I'm looking into some solutions maybe, or we can have like a live one on our YouTube channel. But for the time being, we're just going to do it in the format where people submit their questions. And so you can flash up here the call to action here. You can email questions to me at pastorplusnarus@panhandlecatholic.org. And the reason why I wanted to really kind of start this initiative up is not because Catholic Answers is doing anything wrong or bad or anything. No, they're wonderful. In fact, I endorse them. I think that everybody should go and start listening in. But there is kind of a little difference there. One, they've got a national program. Sometimes it's hard to get your call in and your answer, even though we did have one of our parishioners here recently get on. But for us, there may be more of an opportunity to have a direct connection. Also, people may have questions which don't have anything necessarily to do with the broader church, but want to really kind of understand some specifics and some local things. For instance, you can't ask Catholic Answers Live, well, why does Father Brashears celebrate the Mass in this way? Or why does Father Raul do this? Or why does Father Jerome do it this way? In all of those kind of questions, then, I want you all to also to have answers. I don't want this to be kind of just a thing that gets wrapped up in theology, but also to understand maybe even more of the practical things. Now, part of the show that I want to kind of move towards as well is also having on some special guests. Got a lot of priest friends that I've got, some lay friends that I want to bring on, and I want to kind of highlight that and have kind of targeted shows. And involved with that, then we'll also kind of take your questions and try to format them, fit them together in kind of thematic ways. And not just to kind of have just a real, just kind of loosey-goosey question and answer time, but to really have a focused and intentional time where we focus on kind of some parallel themes, some grouping themes. So I ask you all to send in your questions because that's kind of how we're going to drive content here. It's what you all want to know, not what Father Brashears thinks is really fascinating or interesting. Now, to that end, if we don't get a lot of questions, especially here at the beginning for material, I'm going to start taking some questions that I've received in the past from parishioners and to highlight those and to start that. But I'll let you all know if those are kind of questions I've pulled out of the bag, out of my past, where people have talked to me about them, or if they are direct questions. Now, to that end, I'm not going to share your name on air. So if you submit your questions, don't feel like, Father Brashears is going to share with the whole world that it was me that asked this question. Absolutely not. I mean, I remember a time when I was in high school, and I had this real burning question, and I knew it wasn't, that where I felt wasn't with the Catholic Church, and I was so scared to ask the question. And so I held on to it for years because I thought if the priest ever found out, he was going to excommunicate me. My parents would be so embarrassed of me, they'd probably kick me out of the house. And these things kind of go through our minds and they're kind of crazy. And it wasn't until some years later when I had a wonderful conversation with a very knowledgeable person who just kind of laid it out really clearly for me. And so that's what I want this to be. I want nobody to have these kind of burning questions they've been sitting with and they have challenges with and they want to understand it better, but they think their position's right and they just need to understand better what the Catholic Church teaches. So I want everyone to have that opportunity. And I want it to be anonymous. You don't have to worry. I'm not going to look at you differently if you've asked this question or that question. Absolutely not. But this is a place where we can have these conversations that most people don't know the answers to, or that they maybe know the answer, but they need a better answer, or they want something more succinct. Which is also why I really like the forum that we have here of you all emailing questions in. It gives me a little bit of time to prepare some really good answers for you that will hopefully have a succinct and really good staying power. I could talk off the cuff, but I'd rather do my homework and really prepare for you all some really excellent sources, especially relying back on the saints and the early church fathers as much as we can. And so, anyways, I invite you all to take part in this initiative. I hope to have our first episode out in about a week or so, week or 10 days from now. I've gotten already a couple of questions in, and I'm already starting to formulate the show. So I hope that you all will join me in this. I hope that we kind of get to be a little more knowing and not to stay ignorant. We can kind of see that right there on the, if we just put the I on the front of there, we can already see kind of the negation, that ignorance. We don't want to be ignorant. We don't want to have this ignorance about us. And so join me, get your questions answered, put them out there, and email in, and let's build this show together.